AI robots are taking over the world. Or maybe at least automation. Automate your mundane task in Jira and remove waste from your team with Jira automation, the topic that we'll be covering in this video. Remember, if you like this content, please subscribe on YouTube, please like this video, and let's get in. What is Jira automation? Well, to summarize, it's really automation, a no-code rule builder within Jira that helps remove repetitive and manual tasks, reduce time and friction within your team while developing, and really make it easier to streamline your team's work and reduce time from manual work within Jira. Let's go over the basics of Jira automation first before we dive into how to configure it. There are main key elements for automation, and those are triggers, conditions, and actions. With these, let's start with triggers. Triggers is really where the rule starts. What kicks off that rule or that automation? Conditions are something to narrow down the rules. Maybe there's a condition that trigger or activity has to meet before it takes the action. And then the third component is actions, right? The action it takes after it's been through the trigger or the conditions. Those are kind of the three main components. There's also this thing called branching, which is, you can think of it as a subset of those rules or conditions that have to do with closing tickets that are connected to each other, maybe like an epic and user stories connected to the epic, or subtasks connected to the user stories. There's also some smart rules and some rule actors. Smart values, we're not going at today. That's really how to make dynamic links and data within the automation. And the rule actor is the person going to take that action or the automation. But we'll go dive a little bit deeper into that while we go through the tutorial. First of all, let's go to your project, your Jira project. You can see here, this is my Jira project. And in order to find this automation, you gotta go to project settings. Now, this is one way to find it. Another way you can find it if you click into a user story. You should be able to see actions, and you can say create automation. We'll go through it this way for this time, but you can also get through project settings. We're gonna go back one more into automation. So we're gonna return to list, and we're gonna go to library. I want everybody to start here because we don't want to reinvent the wheel while creating automation here. There's a lot of automation that Atlassian creates for you that I would start to reuse. As you can see here, there's some software related. When all the stories are complete, close the epic. When the versions release, create an issue or log work. You can assign issues to people automatically while transitioning. You can send reminders. You can schedule reoccurring tickets. And there's another category here called DevOps. This is more for your development team to help reduce friction from them while they're creating or their work or adding value back into the product. So these are when a commit is made, you can move issues to in progress, or a branch is made to move into in progress. You can think of this as reducing the friction between your team from having to manage their work within Jira when they can do it within their IDE or development environment and move those user stories as with their commit messages or PRs. And there's also some security ones as well you can take a look into. I would highly recommend you go through each one of these. Some powerful ones I'm going to go into that I mentioned already today, but there might be some others for your use cases. For this first one here, I'm going to create an out-of-the-box one, and the second scenario I'm going to show you is just creating one from scratch. Let's go to here. When parent is done, move all subtasks to done. I'm going to click on that. As you can see here are some of the things we talked about before. It is nice because it's color coded. And you can see the green here is the triggering event. The purple here is branching. You can see here the yellow is conditions. And this blue here is going to be having to do with what's the action. On the right hand side here, you can see that there are the names for the rules. You can edit, you can leave as default, you can add a description. Here's a project that's going to enable on this project here. Important. You can have global administration if you want, relating to more than one project. There's some other options here: notify on error, owner, actor, and then who can edit this ticket. This automation for Jira, this actor, I think is probably the most important portion, because for this one, if you don't have the rights or permissions, do this action or this actor does not, then you will not be able to perform it, or it will come up with an error. Really important. And for example, if you have someone that can't move stories from backlog into do, maybe it's a product owner, then if you don't have that actor, that product owner, or an admin for these actors, so you can see automation for Jira or someone else, then it will be impossible to move that ticket over. I'm just going to turn it on. And now I'm going to go to my automation list to see what that looks like. You can see I've already created that one here. I can delete it. But really the idea here is we have it created here and it's enabled. I'm also going to do this one as well. I'm going to do a custom made one. I'm going to create my own rule for the second portion of this to see what this looks like manually. You can see here, there's for this trigger, there are a lot of different triggers here. I would take a look at these and seeing which portions of this applies to you or your use case. And I would go through this yourself because there's so many options here to create. It would take more than just this video. What I'm going to do here, just for this simplicity, I'm going to do field value changed. Now we can take a look at some of these settings here. What I'm going to take a look is, and there's a bunch of options you could pick what fields have changed. I'm going to just do status for this one. There's assignee, there's different options here. I would take a look at your use case of what you want to track that's changed. You can say what type of change is it? Is it value added, value deleted, or any changes to the field? And then for the last portion here, for what operation, edit on issue creation, assign issues, you can pick in particular what this change, when did it occur? I'm going to leave it as a default, which if you leave blank, it happens for all operations. And press save. This is going to take us into the next component of this automation. This condition is what we want to do next. I'm going to go, there's some options here. For this tutorial, I'm only going to do this popular when this condition occurs, but you can see there's some if-else statements, there's some conditions, some JQuery you can put in here, and some dynamic features and conditions as well. For this video, I'm just going to do the recommended. The condition that's going to be occur is the status, and if the condition is, we'll just say ready for review, and you can go equals, it's not equal, none of the above. And the status, you can do different fields as well. And this is the condition that needs to make in order for automation to work. Press save. And then the last portion here, I'm not going to touch branches today, and I'm going to go to new action. I would take a look into these in detail on your own to see what kind of options you have. For this one, I'm just going to assign it. Just keep it simple here to see how this works. I'm going to assign it to a specific user, and I'm going to assign it to myself. You can think of it, maybe there's a product owner. If it is like, if there's a product owner that has to review it before it moves to done. This is kind of that scenario here. We'll say I'm the product owner, and when it's in review, the team has already completed it, and they want to move it to done. There's also options here to add a component for maybe emailing someone or slacking a Slack message or MS Teams chat. That is able to be done here as well. For this tutorial, I'm not going to do that, but just keep that in mind. Depending on how you communicate with your team, it best works. I'm going to say for this automation rule, it's going to be assigned to PO, and then I'm going to turn it on. We can add this rule. I'm going to put all admins. You can make this specific permissions you like. Looks like this automation is turned on. I'm going to go to my list. Looks like I have them active, assigned to PO. I'm going to delete my old ones real quick, just so we can see this. Let's go try this out. Let's go see if this works. Remember, the first one is when a parent is done, all subtasks are moved to done. And then when we move the ticket into ready for review, it gets assigned to myself. Let's take a look at this. The first one I'm going to do is let's do ready for review. I'm going to move this one into ready for review, and you see it has no assignee. It takes a little bit for the automation to kick off. Be patient here. You can see now we have assignee. It's me now, right? Didn't have to assign it to anybody. You can think about how powerful that is, and even send some communication or email. The second one here's a user story with some subtasks. I'm going to move it to done. And we're going to see all those subtasks move to done as well. I'm going to say I'm done with this. It takes a little bit of time, maybe 30 seconds. You can see all of them went to done. You can see how powerful and how this automation we just created works in practice. I'm going to go back though to the automation, and I'm going to give you some other options as well. Some of the settings with this we didn't cover is that there's different rules. You can just have it for their project. There could be global rules for all Atlassian projects or Jira projects. There's an audit log. If there's things that are working or not working, you can see, what is the issue. You can kind of troubleshoot it here. Back to the library, we already went over that. Back to the rules. You can see here we can go into some more options as well. You can do view performance insights. This is something more related to the logs of how are things working. You can imagine at scale, this is probably easier to see anomalies. You can see which ones you need to fix. We'll return to the list, and congratulations, you have completed and created your first Jira automation. Save you and your team time doing manual or repetitive tasks with no or low code. So this was the intro. I really appreciate everyone joining today, and I would like to hear your thoughts and what kind of automation you use for your team that you find useful in the comments below.